Welcome to the Saints' Day on March 20th, where we will tell the story of Saint John Nepomucene. I guarantee you will love it. Martyrdom of Saint John of Nepomucene took place in Prague in the late 1300s. He was a modest priest and preacher at the court of King Wenceslas IV. By standing firmly against the monarch, he paid with his life for his claims that would violate the sanctity of the creed and the freedom of the church. Two stories of this saint and one ending with martyrdom that does not change in either case. His second story, perhaps not as noble and cruel, is the backdrop to the first, institutional and even brutal. Whatever the index of historical reliability of both, the character of this young priest shines on both sides of the coin. This saint is like those who know almost nothing, because they chose to serve God imperceptibly, but knew how to show great character and firm courage when it came to the defense of the church and when her sacraments were in danger. Light in the shadows. The young priest, named Jan, was a Bohemian from Nepomucene, where he was born in 1330. According to some sources, he was born around 1345, but kept the name untormented for centuries. The main story says that he was an intellectual man. He studied canon law in Padua in 1387, but he was also a man who did not abuse his vocation for a career. He was a vicar, holding various ecclesiastical functions, and was appointed canon of St. Victor's Cathedral, but without the benefits of that. However, a star shone above all in the darkness. In 1393, the Archbishop of Prague wanted that priest to become his vicar general. Even against his will, John stood out in his merits, including being a great preacher. As such, he was summoned to court by King Wenceslas IV. Everything seemed perfect, but it was not. Against abuse of power. Like all kings, Wenceslas had his plans. In 1393, when the Kladruby monastery became vacant due to the death of the abbot, the monarch turned it into the bishop's residence, where a person could be placed according to his taste. John rebelled. As an expert on the canon code, he knew that the adoption of this decision would constitute a serious violation of ecclesiastical freedom. So he fought for the election of a new abbot, confirming him canonically. The king did not bow down and had John arrested with 3 other church figures. Faced with torture, the others surrendered, but John resisted. Vaclav then executed him. On the night of March 20, 1393, the priest was taken, chained to the Vltava and thrown from the bridge into the river. The intention was to make him secretly disappear, but the next day John's body was found on the riverbank, surrounded by an extraordinary light. Suspicions about who ordered his murder spread from mouth to mouth in the blink of an eye. Martyr of the Sacrament. The second story of John's life, the less institutional one, only came to light after a few years, that is, 60 years later. Wenceslas' wife, Queen Joan of Bavaria, said that John was her confessor, a man of great spiritual depth. The queen also had a transparent faith. She spent hours and hours in prayer and, above all, endured with dignity the constant betrayals of her husband, divided between alcohol and courtesans. The tragic paradox, however, is that it was Vaclav who doubted his wife's loyalty. At first he suspected a relationship with John, then the existence of some other lover that the confessor could not know about. One day the king ordered the priest to reveal the queen's secrets to him, but John was against it because he would not break the confessional secret. Further requests and intimidation followed, which did not change the priest's attitude. Whether true or not, this story also ended first. John was brutally thrown into the Vltava stream. Even today there is a cross between the 6th and 7th columns along the river, which commemorates the sacrifice of a humble and courageous priest who is remembered as a martyr of the sacramental seal.
Thank you for joining us here. It is a joy to be with you. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.